So yeah, thanks everybody for joining this working session. For this working session, we are going to have two options. So the first one is the one that is going to be in this room with Rich. So Rich is going to be running this agentic coding workshop for virtual dataset creation that will be interactive. If you would like to, as an alternative, join a discussion with me and I think James, if he's in the room, or he's out there. And me and James talking about how virtual stores fit within these enterprise data systems, such as NASA and NOAA. If you want to have that discussion, I'm going to lead the group of us out of here to a nice seating area, not outside, inside. There is nice seating outside, but I don't even want to try it. Yeah. So, and then for the folks online, could I just get the folks online to basically write in the chat if you are planning, if you would prefer to stay in the agentic coding workshop or join a discussion, because that will help us figure out if we need breakout rooms or not.
So, we've got these layers, and, it starts off with these scientific format files on the cloud, and and then what we've been talking about, of course, is using virtually czar to create these ice chunks. And that's the part we're going to start off with. You're going to create your own, you're going to pick some data and you're going to create your own ice chunk. That's the goal. You don't have to do the one that I'm going to do. I'm going to do kind of a demo. And if you want, you can follow along with that one and then do your own, or you can just do your own from the start. And then, we're going to take that ice chunk and we're going to, I'm not sure, what do you call the process of import it into...
It's really register so that Array Lake is just aware of its existence.
So yeah, just for the folks online, I'm just repeating, we're going to import it so that Array Lake is aware of the ice chunk's existence. So it's not so again, Tom said this already, but Array Lake is not some wholly different thing than an ice chunk. It's just basically an ice chunk with different services layered on top that, so the idea is not that you're not using anything, you don't have to do this stuff and you have to use Earthmover. The idea is that if Earthmover provides value through these services, then you might want to use Earthmover. So what we're going to do is it's probably going to take about 10 minutes to get us set up here, to the point where we can actually start using an agent. But I debated about this a little bit, but I think the very first thing you should do is maybe just use your favorite chatbot to basically say, hey, are there some suitable files and let's just restrict it a little bit, like AWS Open Data, that are suited for creating virtual ice chunk, and then figure out what region that's in. And so the reason to do this first is because we can then fire up the infrastructure in the region where the data is. We don't have to do that, but it's kind of nice. And, it's a little bit more efficient, right? It should be faster and cheaper. We don't really care because we're using Amazon credits, but hopefully use whatever chatbot who doesn't use a chatbot? Who doesn't know how to use a chatbot? Okay, that's what I thought. So just ask it. And then, spend a couple minutes, and it could be, and if you don't know what to ask, you could say, for instance, you could say, find me some ocean model output on Nod that would be suitable for ice chunk. And I have a feeling that your chatbot will succeed in that. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. We can always do it later. So if you're not able to do that in a couple of minutes, don't worry too much about it. So then what we're going to do is either on your own machine, if you can run Python on your laptop, how many people cannot run Python on their current laptop? Okay, it's cool, because I'm going to be with you, because I don't...
I'd be fired if I couldn't.
Okay, so that's interesting, because so no, everybody can install a Python package on their machine? Oh, okay. So I might not present from here then, because there's this whole extra step that Eli turned me on to last year, where if you don't have a machine, you can fire up a code space machine and install Python there. So what we're going to do, we're going to install the SkyPilot Python package. SkyPilot is a open source Berkeley thing that kind of is like a high level interface to allow you to just deploy VMs really easily and clusters. Actually does a whole bunch of stuff, but we're just going to use it real simple. We're just going to fire off a VM, but with a certain size and number of cores. And then if like you end up having your the data set you're trying to work with doesn't, you blow memory or something, we can just like spin up a bigger machine. Yeah. Question.
Is SkyPilot local or remote?
SkyPilot's local.
So the VM will be constrained by whatever we have in our lab.
No. SkyPilot's local, but we're going to use SkyPilot is installed locally, but then we're going to fire up a VM on AWS.
Okay.
Then we're firing up a machine on AWS again because we want to be close to the data, right? Like we don't want to be limited by the crappy internet here or whatever. So we're going to spin up so I have a pre-configured VM like that I've configured with SkyPilot that's going to come up and, maybe, by default, we're just going to use US East. But if you have if you want to use some data in like US West 2, you could fire up your machine there. We're going to go, I'm just kind of giving you an overview, like I've got a whole recipe, right, that we're going to follow. So then we're going to connect to Jupyter Lab running on the VM. We're going to chat with an agent in that Jupyter Lab to create our virtual ice chunk. And I'll show, I'll walk through an example of all this and we can kind of go through it together. But I just want to give you an overview again. So then we're going to write the ice chunk to a public S3 bucket that I've created for this breakout. Then we're going to tell the agent to create a notebook to visualize the data. I like HoloViz, so I'm probably going to do that. And then I'm going to create. Then we are going to create an array lake data set that points to that virtual ice chunk. And then we're going to use Earthmover's Flux services on top, so you can see how this all layers on top. So this is going to be your ice chunk, whether you do the demo that I do, or whether you do some other data set. It's going to be your ice chunk, but it's going to be public, and anybody's going to be able to access it.
If you want to, you could. The SkyPilot thing is so that you have access to the data from in the region. If you wanted to, you could run Claude locally or Chatbot locally, and you'll accept that it would be slower than if you were in the region, but it reduces the setup, right?
Yes.
Because then you don't have to bother with the SkyPilot step.
Yes, but I was thinking that people might not have Claude code.
Yes.
And so no. I mean, you can, and if you want to just do this all in your, if you already have Claude code or you already have Copilot or whatever, and you have an environment.
Advanced people can jump ahead to the other steps.
Yes, exactly. And so if you already have, if you already have an agent, you can just do what Tom did and say hey, create an ice chunk, please. But you will probably want to write it to this public S3 bucket that we've created, so that you can access it, so that Array Lake can access it.
Eva has a question.
Oh.
So we're choosing the VM to ideally be where the data are.
Yeah.
Are we limited to regions in the US?
Yeah. I don't. So this really is a question of whether we have enough quota from AWS in every region. Every region is different, and I don't know what ESIP has in every region, but I know that there's usually some. So if you want to do, where do you want to go? Europe?
For purpose, they have data in S3.
Yeah, try it. I think I think every region has some resources. We'll just, and if it fails, but you can still, you don't have to be in the same region, right? It's a little slower and a little more costly to not be in that region, right? But you're still going to be able to do everything. Yeah, it's kind of pokey, right? Yeah. And that's why it's nice to use this kind of approach instead of a Jupyter Lab, or a Jupyter Hub, which is just planted somewhere, right? Wherever the Jupyter Hub is, that's where you're doing your compute. So this is a kind of a nicer approach, I think. And also, if this machine is not big enough, we just spin up a bigger one. Or if you want to go faster, if you want to do we're going to, Tom has these skills that are just usually, it'll just do a few files, just to show you the thing is working. But if you want to do 1,000 files or something, or 10,000 files, maybe just spin up a bigger machine. Anyway, okay. So with that, well, I have one more little slide here, which is just, Tom mentioned this a little bit, but wait a minute. Oh, crap. I lost one of my slides. Okay, I'll just say it. The big thing about, actually, who hasn't used an agent, like a coding agent before? Wow. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. No, I expected a lot more people. I mean, of course, we're at ESIP, so. Because when I asked this to a room of scientists at HUI, like nobody had used a coding agent. The Woods Hole oceanographic. No scientist had, used a coding agent. It was pretty amazing. And when I
Should I go and sit with those two and then show them that?
No, I don't think so. It was really just like, I don't have to explain this, what an agent is. And like, but does anybody not know like how skills and like, the agents MD works?
I have to say.
I mean, okay, just real. Yeah, I mean, just real briefly. I mean, as Tom mentioned, also you can, when you work with an agent for a while and you see it kind of making the same kind of like mistakes, or it's not doing the right thing, and you have to keep correcting it. It's usually like, yeah, maybe I should make a skill, and so that it doesn't have to keep doing this. And so you have, there's the agents MD, or actually Claude. Claude was the first, right? So Claude called it Claude MD, but now actually the Linux Foundation is sort of like trying to standardize how this is done. And the agents MD file is now read. I think it's read by Claude automatically. And the skills are all also standardized. So that if you're using Claude or you're using Google's, no, it's not Gemini, it's anti-gravity now. They changed it. It's anti-gravity. Anti-gravity or Codex or Copilot, they all read the skills MD and skills. So the way it works is like at your root workspace, like on your computer, you can have an agents MD, which sort of like the agents MD is used in every request to the context. In the context window, you type some stuff, but there's all this other stuff that goes to the LLM, right? And the agents MD stuff is always in there. And the skills are maybe in there if you say the right words. So the skills is a folder, and in that folder, there's a bunch of different skills. And the skills say things like, if the user says HV plot, then I want you to do these things or whatever. And so, and if you say rasterize equals true, right? And if they don't always get in the context. The LLM the agent decides whether it should go in or not. So that's nice because it doesn't just pollute your context window. So anyway, that's at the root workspace. But like in these guys in the project workspace take precedent. So you can have the same things going on in every project you have. And in this case, I've supplied you with an agents MD and these skills that are going to help, and some of them came from Tom and some of them came from the HoloViz project. And so you could take these, if you liked them and you thought, gee, I want to use these on every project, you could take them and put them in your root workspace, and then you wouldn't have to have them at the project level. I just wanted to kind of clarify that. And of course, what makes coding agents so much better than chatbots is they run code. They don't just create code. They create code. They run the code. They look at the output, tell you what's wrong, or maybe they figure out what's wrong, and then they do. You have this loop, the agentic coding loop, which is huge leap forward from chatbots, right? We all know that. Everybody uses coding agents.
Just to be clear, so
yeah.
Follow the instructions, so we're going to log into the virtual machine, and then the agent, whatever will be running inside the virtual machine.
Yes.
The process is very strict on that.
That's right. Okay. That's right. Yeah. So you want to go to this this document that we have, right? The collaborative document, and and so down here in the agenda. Nope. Wait. Oh no, that's part one. Never mind. Part two. Okay. Let me make that a little bigger. All right. So there's my slides, and here are the instructions. Okay. And this is just a GitHub README. You're going to open that up, and you're going to follow those instructions. And this document here contains a key pair that you're going to use. I didn't really know a good way to do this, so to share this key pair with you. So they're in this secrets document that I'm going to right now make public for a short period of time. And so now anyone with this link should be able to see this page. Okay, if you if you go to if you go to Sketch and you go to the collaborative document, okay, this guy. All right. Can everybody find this page? This is can anybody not find this page? You get here by going to Sketch for this session and collaborative notes, this brown guy right here. Okay. And that lands you in this document. And actually, maybe Tom, can you help people, or Aaron, maybe you could help people. I don't know.
It worked.
It worked. What worked? Okay. So hold on a second. So if everybody can get into this README, then we can skip over some stuff here because we're all working locally. So the very first thing you want to do is clone this repo. Okay, this thing here, and there's a copy thing over on the right. Like you can just click this guy here. And I'm going to go. I'm going to. Oops. Oh, wait.
You make your font a little bigger
Yeah. This one?
in your tone.
This one?
Oh,
Or this one? I can make this one bigger too. But you should have this up. Like you should, have this in.
Also the shell.
Oh, the shell. Yeah. Okay. So I'm here on my Windows machine in WSL2. I don't know if you're if you're running Python on Windows, you're going to have to change the way we specify the environment variables. Hopefully you know how to do that. Or if not, you can use your agent to tell you. Your internet connection is unstable. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say that I've never had a live demo fail. How many people think that's a bad idea to say that? I'm so reckless. Plus, I added some skills last night, and the agent said, "I don't think that's a good idea. You're doing this workshop tomorrow." It's like it did. I was just like, well, it's just skills.
but the agent doing the job, so it's not your fault.
Exactly. I can blame it on the agent. That's right. Everything I can blame on the agent because this is all done with the agent. Okay. So hopefully you've done this command and you have this repo up. How many have not been able to get to this step? Ooh, nice. Okay. All right. Jim thought it looked too complicated, so he's leaving. All right. So we're going to install this one package. Okay. That's the only thing we need to do here, except we need to export these keys. Okay. And that's what's in this secrets file that you should have been able to open up. In fact, I was very nice and I provided all 4 lines here. So if you actually just, if you already did these 2 lines, that's great. Then you just need to do these 2 extra lines. And what this is going to do, it's going to give us permission to create these virtual machines on Amazon. Thank you, Chris. And and these also, so these are the keys for a very scoped user, like, and they're going to expire. So like, we're not handing you the keys to admin on, ESIP and ESIP's Amazon account. So, don't bother trying to go, well, actually you probably could do some Bitcoining if you wanted to, you could fire up, anyway. So if we've got to this point, we can go back, and you can do this sky check AWS to make sure that things are working. So did I actually execute? I don't think I executed. Okay, let's do it. Let's see, sky check AWS. And by the way, just to plug Chris's session too, she's going to also be doing agentic coding tomorrow using Amazon's agent Kiro. And which model are you actually going to use? Okay. So, okay. So it should come back and say enabled infra with these little celebration things. And if it did,
but it says fail to connect.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It comes back with this failed thing first, but then it says, that it's actually working. So, so then let's see here. Where am I? Okay. So now we're going to launch the notebook, and you can copy this whole thing. It's going to try to use, okay. It's going to either use your GitHub user or user. Okay, this should just work. So go ahead and copy this thing and drop it into your terminal again. And it should fire up this machine. Oh, okay, so you might want to change this. This is where, Eli, you want to change this one line. You see in here it says US East 1. That's where you want to change it to whatever region you want. It doesn't have the one in Poland? What? You mean you tried it and it didn't work? What did it do? It came back and said, oh, you mean Sky actually won't let you use this? Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know why they wouldn't. That seems weird to me, but. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So, it takes a little, so what's happening now, it's spinning up the machine, and then it's actually, if you look at the repo, there's a SkyPilot YAML file that's basically saying, like, create the Python environment that we are going to be using here. Set these environment variables that are going to let us use Amazon Bedrock to then access Claude. And it's setting up Claude, and it's set also as a backup, just because I was worried about Claude being overloaded. We're also going to have the ability, if you want, to use anti-gravity. I can't remember that. Anti-gravity.
Mine says no cloud access error. Cloud access is not set up.
So you did install SkyPilot. You set the environment variables. Okay, does anybody have it working? Or is it failing for everybody? It worked? That's interesting. Okay.
It failed for me initially because I have an old Python version of my base Go environment. So it could be that.
Oh, maybe create a new environment. Yeah.
Create a new one.
Yeah.
Make sure that I don't know what's.
Yeah.
Python 3.12 should be.
Yeah. Create a new virtual environment or a new kind environment or whatever.
14.6.
But you probably have a bunch of weird packages in there. So.
Yeah, when I was sitting right here.
And it's not working?
No, I just fire up. The thing that I was missing is the GitHub environment user because I don't think was defined, but
Like mine is not saying, it's saying that the dash infra option is on. There's no such dash infra option.
Uh,
Well,
okay, so I think that's so. If you do Sky like version or something, probably. I bet it installed some old version, like because of something else you had in your environment. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I use Conda first.
How can we destroy the machine if we just?
Yeah, you could complain like the version of non-players.
So if you don't have version like 12.3 post 1, I guess. Um,
I mean, remember that other ways to skip slide from your other animation locally, except that that's through the slower than running region.
yeah. Okay, but then you have to bring your own agent, and you have to set up your environment with Array Lake and with Virtually Czar and with all.
I'm just saying, it's another option.
Yeah. Well, the other option, actually, if you're having a problem locally, why don't you just use the code space option? Just because I know that works. So instead of trying to debug everybody's weird, problem with Sky, let's go with the code space option, which is, for those of you who have succeeded, just carry on, because these instructions should, the only thing, just keep going. And if you're having struggling on your own computer, let's do the GitHub code space thing. So if you don't, all you have to do is you click here on this link. Okay. Go up in the README, click on this link to my repo, and wait, first you have to be logged into GitHub. Okay. Make sure you're logged into GitHub. And when you go here, this green button, if you click on it, I guess I'm not logged into GitHub. Oh no, code spaces here. So local and then code spaces. And if you go to code spaces, then you can hit plus, and it will fire up a new, it'll fire up a code space for you, which already has Conda installed. And you're good to go. So this is like a little bit of a, now you're firing up a machine for the sole purpose of installing SkyPilot without issues. So you can fire up a machine on Amazon, because I don't know where this machine is. I don't even know what its capabilities are. I know it's free, so it's probably not very powerful. So you're in code spaces here. It should come up looking like this. And then you just proceed on in the instructions to go ahead and install SkyPilot. So I'll just go ahead and do it here, just so you can sort of see. I'm going back to my README. So if you're if you're on the code space, you go and clone the repo. Actually, it's already cloned. It's already cloned on code space. And then you need to install SkyPilot. Okay, nope, don't do that. Go to do this. Oops.
If you do pip install SkyPilot, that works.
Okay. Is it
0.8.
Interesting? Is that what you did? Conda install?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Install it. Just do pip install.
Okay. So did everybody hear that? If you did Conda install, it's an old package. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was the case. So you need to pip install, and that will give you the latest version.
But I'm also.
It's working.
It's working. Yay. Okay, it's working. So now we're getting to the fun stuff. Ooh. Okay, we still have time. It's good. So now, once you've got this Sky machine running, we're going to basically tunnel into it with this crazy thing. You can just copy this and drop it into your browser or into your.
I'm doing it locally while I'm actually on the Jupyter Hub, so I replaced that $GitHub user with July.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no magic there. I just didn't want people to have to type something in. Okay, so it should look something like, oops. I'm launching it. I typed the wrong thing. All right, now I've got two machines running, but who cares? All right. So it actually, you know, when your machine starts up, it gives you these commands like that you could use to shut it down. It will shut down by itself automatically. But
or
idling. So then, yeah, these are, sorry, I meant to click these lines, which should just print back. You know, basically you're going to open up your local host 8889 here. This thing should just work. And you should get, oh, okay. So interesting. It prompted me for the token, which is this guy here. It should have just worked, but, okay. Okay. Invalid credentials. Let me, oh, shoot. Okay. Let me shut this guy down.
taking forever to provision. Mine's still
Really? Still.
waiting for SSH access. Launching.
I've got several of these things running, so I'm just going to kill them all. And instead of looking up the Sky Pilot stuff, I'm just telling my agent to kill everything.
Kill it and then try to run it again. It'll block the requests and send a new request.
So it said there's one cluster running. I'll tear it down now. Has anybody got theirs running, or does anybody have the Jupyter Hub running? One person? Woohoo! It's possible then. That means it's possible. Are we waiting? So are we just waiting for the Sky thing to? Yeah, because like if you try to log in too soon, it'll just like be I can't find this page, right? So if you have code space, it's the same. It's exactly the same thing. Actually, you just you type the same thing. All right. Yeah, this all seems like it should be a lot easier, right? maybe there is a way to make it a lot easier. I don't know. Okay, so did I do all this? I'm just going to make sure I did this again.
Maybe it should be a bash script.
Here. And has anybody else got the Jupyter Lab running? Just one person? What's that? The machine spun up, and then you proceed to the next step, which is to step 4.
Yeah, 3.
You're at 3. You're still waiting.
Yep. But not up now.
It's not up?
It's up now.
It's up now. So once it's up, then you should be able to, get the.
It looks like I can connect to the Jupyter.
Yeah, hold on one second. So by the way, we're running here. You can see we're running a extra large machine, which just has 4 CPUs and 16 gigs of RAM. This is like kind of a classic Jupyter Hub machine, right? It's going to cost 19 cents an hour. And now, so now I should be able to execute these commands here.
Mine got stuck on launching.
You're still stuck?
Yours and provision.
I'm still waiting for SSH access.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it. I just have to wait a little bit.
And the keys don't have a quota, right? Like it's not like.
I mean, there are. Yeah, we shouldn't hit the quota. I mean, there is a quota, but
10 cores, 2 machines.
should be okay.
Yeah,
You're up finally.
you have to token.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't.
Then you
I put it at 4.
yeah. Okay, we got one more. You got your Jupyter lab? All right. So you can just, proceed on with the instructions. Okay, well maybe we should just go ahead. I'm not in yet though. So oh no, I am in. Okay, I'm in. All right, good. Okay, good. I'll go ahead and demo the next thing then. Okay, so good. So now we're finally ready to use our agent. So let's familiar Jupyter Lab. We open up a terminal and we just type Claude. Oh, and one thing is it's kind of hard to see, so I like to. And these modes don't really work well in the Jupyter Lab. These different schemes. So you can go up here to, I think it's settings, theme, and switch it to dark, and everything looks a lot better. So if you've used, I guess we've all used Claude before, so I don't need to really explain any of this. But in the beginning, you set your theme. We have to. I wish I could turn this thing off. Jupyter News. Okay, so then you have to answer a few questions here. Dark mode. Okay. Claude can make mistakes. Yes, it can. Oh, good. Okay. And then it tells you this folder pre-approves 9 tool permissions. This is something I did, because I allowed it to do web searches, web retrievals, bash commands, run Python code, all these things that it's going to, if I didn't do this, it would be like, is it okay if I run this Python code? Is it okay if I do this web search? Is it okay? And, you have to keep typing yes, and then you're the monkey, which really is kind of dehumanizing. So, yes, I trust this folder. Okay, this is the normal stuff. Opus is not available using Opus 4.8. Well, it's not really using Opus 4.8. It's using Sonnet 4.6 because that's what Bedrock. I don't know, Chris. For some reason, it didn't want to go to 5. I don't know. There's something about I tried to set it to, because now we're at Sonnet 5, but it didn't want to. Maybe today it would work. Actually, who knows? But we're at Sonnet 4.6, but that's okay. So actually just. Everybody's like, what model do you use all the time, right? What model do you use? Oh, you're not using Opus, or you're not using, what's the latest one? Fable. You're not using Fable? You got to use Fable, but you don't have to use Fable all the time. And it costs a lot of tokens, and these are not that hard. These workflows are really not. And so you pay less and it's faster to use a simpler model like Sonnet.
You can even use open source.
You could even use open source. Yeah. In fact, Matt Rockland was telling me he runs the thing locally on his Mac. There's some model that he uses for the stuff, and it works okay. So you don't even need to pay. You don't have to worry about your tokens. And this machine gets kind of hot though. Anyway, okay. So we're in. So now that we've got Claude going, you can say, in this case, I'm going to say, let's create a virtual ice chunk of the NOAA CDR NDVI data on AWS Open Data. So I'm being a little more pedantic than Tom. Tom's like, let's just make an ice chunk, please. But I'm not actually providing like the URL to this data or anything, right? And actually, Tom said I don't have to do this, right? Let's start with a few files of smoke test. Let's try not doing that. So let's just do this. I'm going to put that in here, but I'm also going to put. I don't want it to write the ice chunk locally, which is probably what it would do by default, wouldn't it, Tom? Okay. Yeah, sure. So now it's saying I'll read the skills requirement collection guide and check if there's existing progress. No existing progress. Okay.
Just asking you this question, what do you want to do?
Yeah. So now it's going to come back and it's going to say, do you want virtual or native? Okay. So I'm going to say virtual. I'm okay. Or maybe I want virtual ice chunk. What resources do you have available? There's like two questions at once.
Just tell it and run it locally. I'm already in it. I'm already in it.
Yeah. Okay. And on my machine, IBM here on AWS. Okay, so we got one more working. All right. What was the secret?
I just tried it.
Just try it again.
It's just search the internet for docs.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah. So then this is the thing. This is the part though where like if it starts taking minutes or something, it shouldn't take like 5 minutes here. And this is where like sometimes it gets overloaded. And like this time of day in particular, I think is kind of a bad time. But because everybody in the country is like doing this stuff and and it's providing, actually I use this little BTW. I don't know if I mean it pops up all the time, but it is kind of handy if you just want to like do something unrelated. So this is not using your context window that you might be filling up. Like it just does a separate little thing off to the side, which is kind of handy sometimes, especially if you're just sitting here waiting. Most people like when they've got like 6 things going on at once, right? So and then Matt Rockland had like a little tip which I just read and I realized, oh man, I should have done that. It's like you can put in a hook to like have it go bing when it's actually completed. So this is typical, right? It comes back with some errors, like it tried some stuff, like it's importing obstore from this this Python. I don't know what the problem is, but it'll figure it out. Okay. So, it figured it out and now it's actually looking at some data. It found some data. It found this netcdf file and, confirmed access. Let me get a file count and peek at one file structure, then read the HDF5 netcdf format skill. So Tom has created this skill for creating ice chunks and it's got these sub skills that says, if you're reading a GRIB file, do this. If you're reading an HDF5 file, do this. You don't need to load those skills if you're not working with those different types of files, right? You only need the one that you're working with. So if it's netcdf3, it loads a different subskill. If it's netcdf4, it loads a different subskill, and then uses like the right object store or the right parser for your data. So it's figuring out which parser to use and using those skills. It's running along. Okay, so now I have a clear picture of the data set. It always says this, but like it doesn't always have a clear picture of the data set. That's one of the things that kind of annoys me with agents. So they're very confident, But in this case, okay, good data. Nice. Good job, Noah. All right. Let me check one more file from a recent year to verify chunk homogeneity across the data set. Ooh. Because as we just learned, maybe you got a bunch of files, but something changed in the middle, and that's not going to fly because what we want here, we need a homogeneous data set for ice chunk because the data model is just the same data model, the X-array data model that, you can't have things that are changing in the middle, like scale factor and add offset. Well, actually, that would it find that? Probably not. Maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, but chunk shapes is a big one. If they change the chunk shape somewhere along the way, then you're going to have to we can't change the chunk shape. So if maybe they switch the instrument out, I think in this case they did it maybe. Okay, dataset summary. 16,000 net CDF files, 1 terabyte total. Here's the coverage, 46 years.
Where you got that info from?
It found it from the open data.
Yeah,
Read the README or read the actual file
it's
size?
also listing the contents of the file. So it means there are like 16,000 objects that end.nc, and it opens the first one with X-ray to work out what the structure is, and then it's like, okay, altogether the structure should look like this. But the skill explicitly says, don't just start by trying to download 16,000 files. Instead, work it out one.
So I'm looking at the formats, skills. That's just a basic template I can copy from different formats.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that. So if you just take a look at the repo, there's this .claude directory, and in there's these skills. And if you look at these skills, this is the one that Tom provided, and I submitted a few PRs to this to add stuff. So this is actually a repo that I've co-opted here into this project. I also have some visualization stuff that I added for HV plot because that's my favorite tool, and I want it to do certain things. So you can add, and you don't have to craft these things by hand. I think Tom did craft these by hand, but you can just ask the agent to create a skill for you and work with the agent, and it'll be like, okay, I added this, right? I mean,
so if you click on the skill, you'll see.
Yeah. So if you click on this skill, it's a folder, and inside this folder, there's a skill MD. And if you click on the skill MD, it's just a markdown file, and the name of the skill and the description of the skill, and the goal. And so Tom actually wrote this. And down here, if the user or your bucket mentions any of these file formats, read the following skill. So ZAR3 is going to read this one. HDF5, NetCDF3. Let's just click on one of these. Again, oops, there was no. I clicked on the wrong one. Click on Grib. Okay. Where are we?
A lot of this is slightly unnecessary. The models are good enough now, but the models clearly have been trained on virtualized documentation. This is just an overarching guide.
Yeah.
A lot of the time they don't.
Just fertilizer of the whole GitHub report.
It's really nice for every time Anthropic for OpenAI release. It gets markedly better at doing this. It gets better at using IceChain. It gets better at
so I think it's actually sort of so these skills, I think just to say what you're saying again, when the agent doesn't really know about this stuff yet, then you need the skills, and then eventually maybe you don't need the skills anymore because this Grib one is one that probably it's got Gribberish in here, right? Maybe right. Exact. Yeah. So if you don't do this, it'll pick some other way to do Grib, which maybe is not so good.
I mean, there's some ways in which it'll know on its own to try and check live documentation.
Yeah, but it doesn't know necessarily, in this case, Gribberish, it may not even know to
query that as a package.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just giving it help.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Quick question. So I've used an agent to create a scale, but is there a very specific set? I know the front matter of the title and description should be there, but then the headers or sections, they seem kind of random.
If you read the official specification, it defines what skills are. There are only two entries that matter. One is the name of the skill, and the other is the description.
Anything after that?
Anything after that is again.
You can put Python scripts in there, you can put extra skills in there, which is what I did. You can put anything what you want in there. Like the rest of it is unstructured. It's just stuff to get.
The order doesn't necessarily matter.
I mean, I wrote the instructions out to try and get
In a
to
way,
do something in the same order, but like I just made up.
But there are no guidelines for you to have like this section.
There's all these AI startups. I write all these blog posts about how to write a big skill, and I just like read it. Okay.
All right, let's it's 5 after 5, so let's at least get to the finish line, and then we can revisit all these questions. So I do have a bucket set up. So like where we are right now is it's asking, does the schema look right? So it actually expected concatenated data set, right? It's showing you what it's going to create, like. And then good news, blah, blah, blah. This is all consistent. The data QA is contiguous. Does it look right? Also, what do you want to name the ice chunk repository? And where should it be stored? A local path or an S3 bucket? We want to do an S3 bucket. I have created an S3 bucket. So down here. Okay, so, I'm going to say, looks good. And I want to create I'm going to put, so your name or data set, don't just copy that, like put your name in there. And so like go to here and say, looks good. Let's write the ice chunk to our signal like test or something. Or maybe, whatever. Or maybe NDVI test, because we're doing like the NDVI CDR. So now it should create the Python code that will actually create the ice chunk. Question?
No, not a question.
Oh. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the general process is that you get something to read the data, and then it goes to X-array, and X-array to X-chunk. Is that just sort of the flow of this thing?
Yeah. I mean, because there's,
But not to X-array so much as to virtualize R, which is like deliberately has the same API as X-array, but is actually, instead of manipulating real bytes in memory, it's manipulating references to bytes.
we can look at the code in a second. So I have everything I need. Let me write the ingestion script and test it on a small 3-file subset first. Nice. Can you do this fast? Let's just see. Okay. Do you want to? Okay, so it is. I did not override this. Do you want to create ingest NDVI? Yes, I do. Okay, got it. I'll do the 3, and I'll if it passes, I'll kick it off. Okay, so it came back with an error. So the Python code bombed out, found the error, and now it's fixing it.
So the bit that it's doing now, if it had used the relay, it would go like just now.
Yeah, so we could go, as Tom says, we could have gone straight to Array Lake, but I thought it would be nice to actually go to like, just to show that, Array Lake really kind of layers on top of Ice Chunk to write our public Ice Chunk. Everything we really like, very high value in writing our public Ice Chunk, right? Anybody can access this cloud. It has everything there. What you get by going to Array Lake are these, the ability to do these kind of searches over your data sets, to be able to layer these, very performant. What?
Do you want to ingest 16,000 files?
I'm ingesting 192. Okay.
So wait, it went ahead and
it got past the smoke test, and then it was like, okay, let me do the whole thing, and I just did it. You actually wanted it.
Yeah, actually, escape.
258 minutes.
So you can hit escape and interrupt it. And then I'm just going to say, like, did you write the smoke test Ice Chunk? Yes, it did. Let me quickly verify by reading it back.
I have a question for Tom. So, speaking of ingesting, 16,000 files. So when I have done things like that, I found it was a lot faster to do append rather than concat. So I'm like working through, and I will end up appending a bunch, and then I'll commit because my Jupyter crashes periodically, and then I'll append. Is there anything bad about using append versus concat?
No, it makes sense to do that. That's how it goes. Those things in enormous time series of SDF files. I ingested 1,500 of them at once, entered it, ingested another 1,500, ended that, entered it, and just ran that loop for like 2 days straight.
So, so what we're talking about here is, here's the code that it wrote, and somewhere down here, after it processes all the, so URLs, it finds all the URLs, and some registry stuff, storage stuff. Whoops, no, I missed the virtually czar stuff. Store. Oh, this is just defining the, and then open.
That's all the permissions.
Yeah, all the permissions. Yep. Okay, so now here's this little function that's going to take a URL and give us back the references, and it knows, and it's smart enough to know that the coordinate variables should be loadable variables. So if you want to mess around with any of this stuff, or change like these time values, you might need these values. So otherwise, they're just these manifest arrays. But here's what we're talking about here. This is using an XR concat, so it's combining them all together and then writing that whole thing to ice chunk, combined to ice chunk. But as Eli said, you could totally just like go through, read each reference, and then append it to the ice chunk, because the ice chunk has an append. So
does that influence like the space that ice chunk uses or performance?
Sorry, the loadable variables.
No, the like many commits in ice chunk purpose, like batch like that.
Yeah, it does affect the layout of the manifest files themselves in a way that doesn't matter unless you're working like very, very large data sets.
So ideally, you would want to batch the commit, not commit one reference at a time.
Ice doesn't care that much.
The user.
I'm not really sure what they're asking.
I'm asking if as a user, I'm going to get a penalty for committing one reference at a time, making the graph, like in GitHub.
So ice default behavior is that each new commit writes a manifest that includes all the chunk references in the store. So even if you decided to build up manifest by writing one chunk at a time, the final snapshot, it still has the same single manifest for all the chunks in the default behavior of ice. You can configure it to use them.
So the penalty would be
that you have a very long history and you've generated this like effectively garbage file. So bucket. I mean, this is true of any other like true database, right? Because like you do like lots and lots of tiny operations, you end up generating like a bigger block, even though you didn't really need all that. And your penalty you pay is wasted space in the storage database. Which you can garbage collect after, so I was trying to do garbage selection. But that's
so I hope we're going to make it to the finish line. We're getting close to the wire. So I what I did here is, it did the smoke test. So I said, let's create a notebook to visualize the smoke test ice chunk with HV plot, just so we can look at some stuff. I mean, we saw it said it could open it up, but let's take a look, and so it's churning away for 1 minute and 35 seconds. While we're doing that, actually, okay, what did it do here? Oh, okay. The virtual chunk read is broken. The same no such key issue we were starting to debug. Let me nail that down before the notebook will work. That's a new one. I've not seen that one before. And they don't, so the agents don't do the same thing every time. Actually, somebody was telling me that they were building like something to search all the government data, and the big thing they were going to do is that the agent was going to give them back the same result every time, because if you wanted to like evacuate Houston for the flood, you don't want it to be like evacuate 3 times out of 4 and then the 4th time like don't evacuate. And I was like, I'm not sure. I don't think it's possible. Yeah. And that's not really what you want. You don't want to ask the agent whether you should evacuate, Houston. You want to say like, what's the best information like you can give me about like the probability of, and what are the alternatives? Like you want all the information, whoa, what's going on here?
So I read all 192 of my files.
Yeah.
My ice chunk, and then the block of code in the notebook that was going to commit ice chunk said ice chunk store object is not callable. So it had a mistake in it.
Did you
develop the mistake?
Well, and then the kernel that was running my notebook crashed. So I can't even interact with
the kernel on the VM crashed?
Yeah. And so now
it's usually not a memory issue.
Wow.
Which I think it's going, I don't know what it's doing, but it's going down the road.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there like a part 2 to this, like an example, like wanted to query the virtuals are? Can we show the another example of the like
yeah. So
I can also like screen share one I did yesterday. Yeah, I'd like to get to that.
So how do you want to do that? Do you want to just tell it?
Do a request to share.
Okay. Well, I'd rather have you tell me how to publish this. You think?
Sorry.
Well, it says it found the bug. Maybe because do you think it was because we started down doing the full, like it was trying to overwrite, like maybe it was trying to write to the same repo remember when we did the smoke test and then it started doing the full thing?
I'm not sure. Doing it the way we're doing it with SkyPilot is an unknown quantity.
I don't like that answer.
Anyway.
I don't like that answer.
Yesterday, I wanted to add a example using TIFF to my slide deck. So I literally went into my Claude locally and I was like, I want to ingest this data set. I want it as a virtualized chunk store. Identified the skill, read this example repo, realized that there are chunk references that it could reuse. It realized that it can use virtualizar as a shortcut. I had it just on auto, so I just left it alone. At some point, I had to tell it what to do with a codec, but otherwise this was like a standard case. And then by the end, I come back and this is the data set that I generated this image from. And in Array Lake, it looks like this. I put it in.
You're not.
I'm sharing on. Am I not showing the screen?
I can see it.
I don't think you see it.
Are you sharing?
On Zoom. I'm sharing on Zoom. I've taken over on Zoom.
Oh, you took over. Okay.
And so this is an example of, we are in Array Lake, the web app.
Yeah.
We are looking at a public repo. Underneath, really, there is an ice chunk store on S3. And Array Lake looks at that ice chunk store and can see its metadata, identifies that it follows these conventions. It can see the last time there was a commit to it, who did the commit. It can see the dimensions. It can see the variables, the coordinates, how big they are, what chunks there are. And then you can also, so this is what it looks like when you've finally got your data set into ArrayLake, right? Like,
My test is working.
okay, you want to share that?
Yeah, it says I'm screen sharing, but I'm not.
I'll stop. I was going to show. 1 second. Oh, so yours worked.
Yeah, mine worked. It just struggled a little bit, and so so now I've got this. I've got my NDVI, and it created this this HV plot stuff for me, and I can make this a little bit smaller. Actually, maybe I need to change my theme back, so I can't see the. Okay, so and this is the standard HP plot stuff, right? So I can hover, I can zoom in, I can zoom into a region, and it's there we are. There's our 3 time steps and our NDVI, and so then then we can go then we could go to Earth Mover, and we can go to the ESIP workshop, and we can create a repository, right, Tom? This is like we go through these steps, right? We create a repository.
Yeah.
And it says, import ice chunk repo.
Have you set up the bucket config and stuff there?
I think so. All right. Well, this is the first step, right?
This is the second step after you.
Okay. So the first step is going to the settings, going to the bucket. This bucket is in here, this ESIP 2026 breakout bucket. Yep. So that's what you would do. And then and also this virtual chunk thing, but I've already put this in here, this chunk policy. So if you didn't, you would say you would add this chunk policy to put in the data where the data is actually coming from. Okay. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a repository. I'm going to import my ice chunk repo. You can also import a ZAR store. You give it a name, NDVI test. Say, and then down here, you have to give it the bucket name. Actually, how does this work again? I go
prefix at the bottom.
Prefix at the bottom. So it actually finds, oh, look at this. So it found everybody's data here. So that's cool. So like gold star for Corey, Eli, Rick Putnam. Okay. And Roland. All right. Anyway,
ArrayLake is listing the contents of the bucket and discovering.
Okay, so let's do Roland's. Let's do Roland's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland.
Just click on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then import repository.
Yours is empty.
Yeah. See that?
Well, mine's empty, but I didn't mean to do that, right? I was trying to.
No. You just imported Roland's under the name NDVI.
Oh.
and Roland's is empty. He's created an iString repository, but he's not committed to it, which makes sense given what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So we don't want to do that. So let's
import a different one.
It's
yeah.
super disappointing, right?
Well, okay. I'll help you out on that. All right. Let's see. Let's actually. So did anybody else that was listed here? You think yours?
Yeah, nice.
And then so we'll do this one, and we're going to call it high lang or something.
I mean, just with data sets that don't meet those they don't have a rectilinear grid.
Yeah.
And it points it out.
Right? Yep.
So the skill, one of the things the skill does is it says if you encounter XYZ, tell the user and tell them that this isn't possible, which helps to avoid it going down rabbit holes.
AI is going to solve that.
So
Why don't we just figure it out when it
Figure it out.
So one of the nice things is here, as soon as you import it, you get this nice description here, right? And it tells you a lot of stuff about your data.
Yeah.
And then if you click up here with data access, these various things are like Python, I think is always on, right?
Yeah.
But then these are the Flux things that you have to turn on, like in the environmental data retrieval, web map tiles, web map service.
Try
Let's
tiles.
click tiles. And it should just like pop up here, hopefully. Choose NDVI.
That is so cool.
Boom. So
It's got some missing bits in the way the data's laid out.
yeah, but that's
Right.
the data though.
Yeah.
That's actually the data. So
And the only reason it's able to do this is because the ingestion got it right, and then Array Lake is correctly identifying that this like obeys certain conventions that the mapping tool understands, and then the mapping tool is interpreting those conventions as it reads data on the fly in order to present it to you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Identify the conventions in.
Yeah. Yeah.
are we going to declare this a successful demo?
Yeah.
keep my streak on.
And how you did the imports.
Oh yeah. So
If we want to import our own.
Yep.
Okay, so we go there.
yeah. So then you go to create repository, import ice chunk repo,
Okay.
and okay. So then it's going to prompt you for a bucket. You know, hopefully you put it in this bucket because that's where I told you guys to put it, right? So then when you click down here, it'll actually find anything that's already in that bucket. So like that's why it found actually so it's not there anymore because
What?
Did your one work?
I just got, I'm looking at pictures, yeah.
Okay, you can try Corey.
so Corey,
Yeah. It's something in there.
but he could, yeah, like he can do this himself, right? I don't have to do this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
so-
I think with Steve Livingston was what my name was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's already,
Yeah.
yeah. So there we go. So there you go.
So this one, yeah, there's one extra step, but it's told you need to.
So this one did 5 steps instead of 3. Yeah.
Was that something I did?
No, it's just like that was the randomness of, you know, it said do a few files, so it did 5 this time. But you know, but then
but this worked. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it'll load the data because if you scroll up, there's a warning that needs a virtual chunk.
Okay. Actually, this is important. So this virtual chunk thing. Now, this is the part.
This is a subtlety, but like I mentioned in the talk that the general case of virtual chunks referring to arbitrary locations that could be in private buckets and so on is security. It's tricky from a security point of view. And one of the things that Array Lake does for you that cannot be done with raw ice chunk is gives you like a solution to that security problem. And the solution involves basically explicitly saying, yes, you are allowed to read from this bucket. And that's what it's asking for.
Is that like CORS?
CORS? Well, CORS is like a bucket level.
Well, yeah, but you can read like.
So
it's conceptually a little bit like CORS.
So Corey, did you do a different, like, why do we have to add another? Do we always have to add this virtual chunk policy? He had a different bucket?
Yeah, because his references are pointing at data in a different bucket.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just go ahead. Can we?
But you need to make the bucket policy. Yeah.
So wait, so we're pointing at the AWS public bucket.
Yeah. So when you see those plots,
Yeah.
the data that's being rendered has come from
there.
the AWS public.
So,
Yeah.
And
so-
the step that you're doing here is basically to say, yes, it's safe to allow people to read from that public bucket, which for the case of a public bucket is obvious. But like, if you're a private company with like super secret data, that's not an obvious thing to say, right? Like,
But if it's if it's a private bucket, then Array Lake won't be able to make it public at all, or like.
Array Lake works with private buckets as well as you can have a virtual chunk that points to a private bucket.
And then
And Array Lake knows how to generate temporary credentials to let you pull data from it. The question is whether or not you want it to do that in general. Yeah.
So can we see which bucket? No, we can't tell.
It said the name of the bucket in that yellow message. That was initially.
Oh, it did. Okay, so right, so it should be in here, right? So when we go,
Clearly,
to,
I need to improve my skills so that it gets this bit right first time.
yeah.
I don't-
Okay. So right, so then we can go here and we can add it. Oops. So we add the buck.
Do you know what region it is, Corey?
No, sorry, US East one.
US East. So
And that should be all you need.
why is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You've got a space in the bigger.
US East 1?
Yeah, and it's not
So-
role based.
So then anonymous.
Yeah.
And then create bucket.
So that's where you configure if you need to give it uncredentialed.
But we still need to do this though, right?
Yeah,
We still need to, is this Corey still? Or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So then we can pick the bucket.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
JScope, yeah.
Yeah. Change it to public. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then add. And now if you go back to the repo, that message should have gone away.
And now because you gave us all array like accounts, so I could be able
Was
to
it not
do
gone
it
away?
myself on my own user.
Try
as well.
refreshing it.
All right.
Sorry, say that again.
You gave us all array like accounts, so I should be able to do this
Yes.
on my own user namespace and rig it up to if I want.
Yes.
So there it is. And let's try the tiles.
But I think it's somewhere in Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, we're really speed running a lot of different.
Hey, look at, so this is cool though. Like he did not do the demo, right? He did his own thing.
Yeah.
So here's the NO.
Did the message?
Data set?
Did the message go away?
Yeah, it went away and there we go.
There
Woo!
Yeah. Pulling from a different bucket now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You man.
5 step. That's just And it has a much longer time period
Yeah.
than we could ask it to do the full.
No, you could go ahead and do the whole thing now if you wanted to.
Yeah, because
You did it for 5 files, but I've done it for a
and
million
now I can
files.
just say run it.
Do the whole thing. Yeah, just tell it.
Burning through my pro plan.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
No, you're not burning your pro plan.
You'd be burning your like coiled credits or whatever.
No, you're burning the free Amazon ESIP credits.
Oh yeah. Right.
I've been running
Go for it.
How do you work cloud with the AWS? You didn't, or you were using your own cloud account?
Yeah, I had to run it locally.
Yeah.
I did everything locally. Yeah, just
With your own cloud account.
with my own what?
Cloud.
So we're launching a
Your own
personal.
documents.
Yeah.
so we're launching a proper free tier in a couple of weeks which will work like GitHub, right? Where GitHub lets you do a certain amount of stuff without having to pay them. And if you want to do certain things like have private repos and stuff, then you have to pay GitHub. We're launching something similar for Array Lake in a few weeks. I've basically given you guys just like early access. But feel free to mess about. If you have questions, you can email us, or we have a Slack for questions as well. But yeah, just like mess about, like have a go with it, right? Yeah.
Different S3.
So we put Rich made a dedicated bucket for this workshop, and we put the ice chunks and the manifests and stuff in there. They contain references to the actual original data on like the AWS Open Data Registry buckets. Yeah. Which is all completely independent from like the storage layer and Array Lake are just completely separate things, right? So good question. I think we are also launching a feature that makes it easy to just like provision your own bucket, like I think with a Cloudflare R2 bucket. So basically there'll be a button that's like I want a new bucket, and free tier people will be allowed to store up to like however many gigabytes in the bucket before we're like, because obviously like, so we give out a certain amount of free storage on that bucket. Yeah. Yes. How big are the manifests and stuff? They're generally about like 100,000 times smaller than the original data that you're pointing at. Because if you think about it, like if the original chunk is a megabyte, and you're reducing that down to a URL, an integer offset, and an integer length, then like you've reduced it from like 1 million bytes down to like, I don't know, 32 bytes or something. So it's like about 100,000 times smaller. So if your original data set is a petabyte, whatever a petabyte divided by 100,000 is, it's still a few gigabytes, but it's not terabytes. Yeah.